Hey guys, and welcome to our full review of Animal Crossing New Horizons specifically, because that's the one we've done on the channel. And as much as I would like to do the first one that's ever came out, which I might, if I can find it, I totally want to do, because it's the GameCube version, and we have a Wii that is compatible with GameCube games. Because that's gonna be nostalgia town right there. Like, I was like 7 when I played that. Zach was like obviously years younger, and Isabel was like just born. So like, that's nostalgia town right there. But we're talking about New Horizons, specifically the newest version, as we're speaking, of Animal Crossing. So if you haven't made our reviews before, then you know that we do then what we do is we do them in chapters. So you can use the chapter feature on YouTube and go to a spot that you want to go to. So maybe you want to skip what we're talking about, controls, which you don't care about, or like the graphics, which you don't care about, all that stuff. Then you can do that, or you can skip to the final rating and just see what we rated. So that's available to you, and let's just get started. So get started with the game company / creator. The game company / creator is Nintendo, of course, and they make pretty great games. They kind of stick with the same formula, but making it different every time. That's very prominent in the Animal Crossing series. Like, there's a lot of things different every time, but it's kind of the same idea. You're on an island, or you're in a village that you got to create. It's like a sandbox game almost. And then with their new Super Mario Bros. Games, it's like those were like pretty much the same, but there's different stuff about them every time. So they're very good at like consistency, and that's what Nintendo's kind of known for, is consistency. But yeah, not much to speak on them with Nintendo. It's Nintendo. So, but moving on to what is done well. Animal Crossing specifically, in New Horizons anyway, the music, which we're going to get into later, astounding, love it. There's music for actually every hour of the day, which I feel like is great, because if you're playing for hours on end, you don't want to listen to the same backing track every time, right? That would get annoying after a while, especially if you play the game for a while.
That would be insane.
So the music's really well done. I'll get more in depth on the music later. The graphics, cutesy style like graphics, but it's way better graphics looking than obviously the old ones, because it's better technology now. The story, obviously, that we're going to get more into the story later, but the story is just like, you got invited to an island, you're there, you got to pay some greedy dude to be on the island and that kind of stuff.
You gotta pay taxes.
And that kind of stuff. And then the new content they added, which was like, they had a Mario crossover where you can get Mario stuff in there. You can get a flagpole, mushrooms, coins. They look super cool on the island. You can do like the home renovation stuff, which we started to do on the series, which at this point is dormant, but we'll continue at some point. But it's like you get to renovate houses and stuff like that. That's super fun to do.
Because I get the terraform, which I don't think was ever a thing.
You get the terraform, yeah. So if you don't like the way your island looks by default, because everyone's island is going to be a little different every time, you can terraform it to make it look better. Which if you got on the video, because Isabel plays a lot more than I do. I don't play that often. But when we go to Isabel's island, it's always impressed me how much freaking stuff she has over there. That's terraformed. She has like waterfalls along the side of the pathways.
Yeah,
if you're creative enough, you can do amazing things with the tools that you
I've seen some very creative like waterfall styles that people have done on the internet. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, I can put 2 Godzilla statues next to each other, so it looks like they're having a date.
Exactly.
That speaks for itself.
So a lot of stuff is very well done, and we're gonna get more in depth as to what's well done. So, but moving on to what could be improved. I think the beginning of the game is kind of a slog. If I recall, it was kind of a slog to get to the good stuff, essentially. And the grindiness of the fish and the stuff is kind of annoying, just in the sense that like you need to be at a certain time of day, a certain time of the day of the week, and a certain type of month. It's kind of annoying, because that means even if you want to speedrun the game, you can't speedrun the game just by doing normally, because there's going to be fish and stuff you can't get during certain times of the month and stuff, which is fine in the sense that if it's like you can just switch your thing. We're not talking about that you can just switch your switch timer to be on that type of day. But if you're just a normal player and you don't want to do that and you don't think you can do that, then it's going to be a huge slug. Like, you got to wait till like the spring to get to the sharks. If you're in the midst of winter right now, you can't even get a shark, but sharks are like one of the most profitable fish you can get.
Which makes sense, because not every fish in real life is getting...
Well, it makes sense, but also in terms of a video game, it doesn't matter. Like, I wouldn't care if, because you can get sharks at certain type... Because you're on an island, you're not in America. If you're in America, then yeah, you're not going to find sharks in the winter. But if you're on a tropical island where there's no really winter in the first place, then you're going to find sharks everywhere.
Yeah, and even time traveling can get annoying, because you have to reset the entire game, you have to reopen and close it.
And it's not like the game takes like 20 years to come back into, but it's definitely takes a little bit. And also, like, when you do that, if you have turnips, the game knows that you time traveled and it ruins your turnips. So they're completely, like, they'll spoil immediately upon you doing that. So if you have a turnip business, which is like, that's kind of like the stock market basically in the game, I find that to be sort of, that's fine. I don't have a problem with like luck-based mechanics. Obviously, we play Mario Party on this channel. But it's one of those things that, like, it's weird that it would, like, just disintegrate into nothing, I guess. So I think that could be improved. I think the overall idea of the beginning of the game, where you're not really, like, they introduce you to stuff sometimes, but it took me a while just to get out of the tent that Tom Nook gives you. And I think the sluggishness of the finding the fossils, because you only get so many fossils per day, which I guess incentivizes you to play multiple times a day. But I don't even think I'm done with, or no, I think I am done with fossils. But I think I'm like, it took me like 6 months to do that. Because
you only get 5 per day, I think.
You get 6 per day, and even then you get duplicates. They give you duplicates. And so once I was getting near to like my last 5 or whatever, I just kept getting duplicates until eventually I finally got the last 5 that I needed. So that's a little sluggish and a little too much grindy for me. I'm not a big fan of grindy games when they're not fun to do, because all you literally do is have to have a shovel and you pick it up, and then you have to take it all the way to the museum just to find out it's a duplicate. So like,
and then your shovel breaks, then you have to grind the materials to build a new one, then repeat the whole
or just buy a new one. So you have to have money to buy a new one, or just build a new one. Either way, it's a lot of grindy when it comes to the I don't know what they call it. I forgot what they call it, but like the Wikipedia of stuff, where you have the fossils, you have the butterflies, like the insects, the fish, and the sea creatures or whatever. Like I said, I don't have a problem initially with the idea that they're in different time zones, but you're on the middle of an island, so I'd assume winter shouldn't be happening where you are. But I guess they wanted it to happen because otherwise it would break the immersion maybe. But it's just kind of grindy, especially the fossils, because those you can get at any time of the year. But you have so many duplicates that like all 6 that you get might be all duplicates, and it's like, all right, great, gotta wait another day for this just to see if you get a new one. So that I would say is really grindy and stuff like that. And if you have a fully furnished island with not really many grass spots, you can't even get any. So like, if you do too much good work on terms of your island, you won't be able to see any. So yeah, it's just a little bit too much grindiness for me in the game. Because if I recall in the old game, like the GameCube one, there wasn't too much grindy. There was a couple grindy elements, but there wasn't too many. Yeah, other than that, I don't think I have much to say about it to be improved. Moving on to any problems or glitches. Nintendo is pretty prestigious about their games, meaning they have a team dedicated to making sure there is no problems or glitches when the game comes out. Now, I think when it very first came out, because it was in the midst of COVID starting to happen, I think there might have been a couple, but then they fixed it immediately. So at the time of me saying this, I'm pretty sure there is none to speak of. Nintendo's very prestigious about how they go about their games and make sure that there's no bugs in terms of the software and stuff. So as far as I'm aware, there's none. But moving on to controls. Control, I think you use pretty much, if you're using a controller or Joy-Cons, you pretty much use every button except for maybe a couple. But it's very easy to control. I think they kind of teach you as you go along. I haven't reset the game in a while, and I don't really want to do that. So I couldn't tell you how it is to start off, if I recall. But I'm pretty sure they taught you the controls, so I think you should be okay. But moving on to graphics. And the graphics are your typical Nintendo-style graphics. They're really well done, polished. They're really cute. In terms of New Horizons specifically, though, it's much better than obviously the predecessors, like the GameCube one, the New Leaf, and whatever the other one was called. So yeah, but that's because it's on a better system and they had better software to make it. So obviously that makes a lot of sense. But that's one of those things that like it's more well done than it usually is. And that leads us into music/sound. Now the music in this game is pretty astounding. 5 a.m. specifically. I don't know who made that one. I don't know who came up with it, but it is so peaceful sounding that I've actually listened to it while working on the mod. Fun fact. because I like to listen to music while I'm working because it helps me work faster. I've learned that. Same thing with like watching videos sometimes. If I'm not writing, I can watch videos and work faster. If I'm writing, then it needs to be music. But when it comes to the mods, because that's all writing, I would oftentimes find myself listening to the 5 a.m. music on New Horizons because that song is just so peaceful. It's like, I don't know what, like I said, I don't know who made it, but they deserve a raise immediately. But yeah, it's just one of those musics that's like, it's really good. And like 6 a.m. is really good. A lot of the morning ones I found are really good. The ones around like afternoon are kind of chill and lo-fi kind of beats. And then once you get to the end, it's kind of like soft, and you have a lot of piano tracks in there. So the music is just like Nintendo usually does, is astounding. Wouldn't change a thing about it. Yeah, the music is really well done in that. In terms of sound effects, all the sound effects are, I think they kept the classic, like, you found this, kind of the same. I think it's a little bit remixed, but I think it's mostly the same as it was in the GameCube version. And so that's really cool. The sound effects of like everything you do, like walking, catching fish, talking to people. Obviously, each character you talk to has a different tone in their voice, which is kind of cool. Because if they're all the same tone, it'd be kind of annoying once you got used to it. So that's really well done. And yeah, Nintendo's very good about music and sound. So there's not really much to say on it other than that it's really good. So moving on to story and characters. Now the story, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, is you get invited to the island by Tom Nook. Once you get there, he's like, hey, you're welcome to the island, but you have to pay for everything. You greedy piece of sh. And so that basically you get set up in this tent, and once you sort of get money by doing like whatever he needs to do at the beginning, then basically they craft the town center. And once they do that, then you're kind of fully in control at that point. And after that, there's not really a story, because it's kind of, you make your own story. It's kind of like Minecraft, where you make your own story. But also there's like the home improvement stuff, which has a story currently, where like I don't know when you unlock that. I don't know if you can just go to that at any point in your playthrough, but once you do unlock it, you sort of go to this other island, and there's this lady that's trying to make it like a resort, and she needs your help to redesign houses and stuff, which is super cool. So yeah, that's a cool story actually. And then in terms of characters, there's Tom Nook, there's Isabelle. Isabelle's actually in the game. Didn't know if you know that.
Yeah.
And she drinks whiskey a lot. She's had a rough day. But so Tom Nook's like he's greedy obviously, but he's kind of cartoonishly greedy, kind of like Mr. Krabs.
So he's like a chill Mr. Krabs.
Chill Mr. Krabs. Yeah, he helps you. He kind of helps build out your thing. Isabelle's more reliant on the social economics of it, where she's gonna help with disputes. She's gonna help with the rating of the island. She's gonna help with like the ordinances that are new and stuff like that. So she mainly focuses on that. Tom Nook mainly focuses on like the construction side of things. And then I'm not gonna go over each individual islander because that would take 10 years.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of them, and they all have different personalities, and they all have different ways of speaking to you, and they're all different types of animals too. So there's squirrels, there's like, what are those called?
Yeah.
Hippos, frogs, like any
dogs.
cats, dogs. Yeah, I don't know what.
Kangaroos.
I think Genji's a cat. So
There's
yeah.
even an anteater.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's anteaters.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool animals in there, but they all have different things, and you can they have different names and stuff, so you can kind of learn who they are. But yeah, in terms of that, the story is like kind of very small, but it's meant to be like, sort of like Minecraft, where once you get the basics, you make your own story. So that's pretty cool. But moving on to replayability. Literally, this is just like Minecraft. You can play the game until eternity, because especially with the new content that they are doing for the game, I don't know if they're gonna continue to do it, but with this content, like the home improvement stuff, I think that gets to an endless point once you do the main story. You can continue to build your island forever. There's actually a marketplace, not like where you buy stuff, but like where you trade with people. There's like a website for that, so you can get new stuff that's not really even in the main shop anymore. So you can find new stuff pretty much forever. And you can, because it's a sandbox game, just like Minecraft is, you can build anything you want. You can construct whatever island you want, like that kind of stuff. Really awesome. You can go to new islands to get new resources and stuff if you don't have any more, if you're running out of resources, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna lump it into, I don't think it's as unlimited as Minecraft, but it's definitely in the unlimited category, because you're gonna continue to find new stuff, even after you've done your main playthrough and after you've done all the extra stuff. So that's pretty cool. But that moves us to personal takes. My personal take is the GameCube one will always hold a special place in my heart, but it's definitely better than that one just because obviously there's more content to it. There's a lot. I love the Mario crossover that they did. They have special events for the holidays and stuff like that. They have a Christmas one, they have New Year's, they have an Easter one, they have like Valentine's Day, like pretty much every holiday that exists they have a thing for, which is really cool. And they celebrate international holidays as well. It's not just American holidays because obviously Nintendo's based off of Japan. So they have like they have Hanukkah related stuff. They have other like holidays that relate to different countries. So that's really cool. Once you go to the shop on that specific holiday, you'll find like a special item in the shop for that, which I find really interesting. So yeah, my personal take is that this game is pretty awesome. But we'll move to Zachary.
All right. Yeah, this game was really good, and like this came out I think at the perfect time because
yes,
it came out like right. I think it was like right as the pandemic hit. So like it was
right as it was starting to get serious. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Because I remember because here's the funny thing, and we didn't talk about this specifically because it doesn't exactly matter for the game. But Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing came out literally on the same day, and I knew like obviously the internet knew that was gonna happen because they were making memes of it. I didn't know until it happened because me, Zach, and Isabel, our mom took us to GameStop, which was funny because they went for Animal Crossing, I went for Doom. So it was just really funny how it worked out because they went for Animal Crossing, I went for Doom. So we were literally doing the meme as it happened.
Literally.
But yeah, both of those games came out at the same time. And it was around March 2020, which is right when
on March 20th, I think. So it was like that was a week before my birthday. But like it came out, I think, at the perfect time because everyone was able to settle into it in their homes, not really knowing what to do, and they were just kind of able to chill on this game. They could just kind of de-stress from what was happening, and I think it did a really good job with that. One thing I will say, and one thing I will praise the original for are the townspeople / islanders now, because their dialogue, I remember people said it was like so funny because a lot of them used to be really sassy and really like not just like how they are now where they're just more so on the I guess boring side.
They're more on the friendly side.
More on the friendly side, but a lot of the people used to be jerkwads and like really sassy to you.
And you could ride a train in the old one, and you used to be able to draw on people's faces. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah, that you can't beat that. So yeah, so yeah, like you're not gonna be able to beat that. But other than that, it's pretty good.
All right, Isabel.
Yeah, when.
But by the way, Isabel has played the game like.
Yeah,
how many hours you have? You've made like.
800 plus.
All right, so she's approaching. So
okay.
I have like 900 to almost 1,000 hours in Faz. Her Faz is Animal Crossing.
Yes,
so.
I play this game a lot, and that's because I love it so much. But one thing Ethan did not mention that I wish they did not add to the game was there's not a specific name for it because they have like a lot of names. You find them, you dig them up in the ground instead of fossils. They're like these like.
Oh yeah, those stupid things.
They don't sell for a lot. They only have one purpose, and they just like make music. Like if you put like a record player and you play music, they just go to the beat of the music. That's literally all. And
they're there for decoration.
Yeah, they're literally just for decoration, but they do not sell for much.
Yeah, I forgot. That actually makes it harder to get fossils.
I hate finding them because I'll dig up because I'm trying to find fossils, but I keep on digging up those, and it's so annoying.
Yeah. And I think the biggest upset of this game, no Mr. Rossetti.
Yeah, he is gone, isn't he? I forgot about that.
He only appeared. He is in the game.
He's a rug though, isn't he?
It's with like the emergency call thing when you're like stuck
somewhere,
so you need to do that.
I think he also has a rug. I think it's called Mr. Rossetti rug or something.
Yeah, so it was a slight homage, but it's nowhere near the same.
Yeah, no, in the original he used to like if you reset the game without quit or saving or whatever, he would give you a hard time, and he was so funny.
Yeah,
and that was the whole meme.
It makes you think that he turns off your whole system.
Yeah,
and then he cuts it back. It was so funny.
Yeah, because he would get angry because obviously people were smart, so they did it to spite him after they found out. And if you do that enough times, that's when he gets upset. He fakes turns off your system, which is hilarious because that breaks the fourth wall first of all, which is terrifying. And it also like is hilarious because once you realize he just did it as a joke, it's like, oh, that's not creepy at all. So
it was really funny though. It was great. He was the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, those I don't know when they added, but they just either like have them either make them sell for a good amount of money, or that's the only thing I'm gonna complain about. I don't really mind having to like grind for very long. I'm kind of used to it, but I just hate those things.
I also wish there was, because there's a dream sequence in the game where you can sleep and you can go to other people's islands. Obviously, you shouldn't be able to take stuff because that doesn't make any sort of sense.
Yeah.
But I wish if you interact with it, it would tell you what it is. Because there were so many times where I went to someone's island and I'm like, what is that thing? And I interact and there's nothing. I can't figure it out.
Certain, yeah, that makes sense.
So, like, that's a feature. That's just a quality of life thing that I wish they would have done. But
yeah.
Was that it? Or?
That was it from me. That's just the only thing that I would improve, because it just got on my nerve.
Like I said, I haven't played the game too much, so I forget stuff like that. But Isabel plays the game. Like I said, my phasmophobia is her Animal Crossing. So, but yeah. So now that I've been reminded of that makes the grinding even more annoying. Because if you're trying to grind for things and you only get 6 a day, because those include the 6, like those get included. You might not even get 6 fossils. You might get 3 and 3, or you might get 2 and 4, or whatever. So, like, that makes the grinding even more annoying, especially considering that's the only thing you can get at any time of the year, whereas fish you can't. So, yeah. But moving on to, is it worth it? Now, this I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first game that we reviewed that is $60, maybe.
I think so. Like, this is one of those Nintendo games.
This is one of,
it's a mainline Nintendo game, which understandably, but so it's $60, and that is a typical game price nowadays, especially with AAA games. And my honest opinion would be, if you haven't liked Animal Crossing up to this point, and you don't seem like, based on what you've seen the footage of right now, and you're not, or you've seen like other people play the game, you're like, I don't know.
Or even if you think you may get bored off.
Or if you think you might get bored and never touch the game again, I would honestly say don't waste your $60. Because I think there's much better things you can do with $60 if you don't think you're going to enjoy it. Because it is one of those games, it's kind of like Minecraft, it's one of those games where it's obviously a great game, but if you're the type of person that you think you're going to get bored of it after a while, you just wasted all your money.
Yeah.
That's $60.
And because it's a mainline Nintendo game, I hate to break it to you, but they don't go on sale that often. Usually around Christmas is when you'll see mainline Nintendo games go on sale. That's really it.
Either that or just buying like used copies.
Or used copies if you go to GameStop. GameStop has used copies that are on sale. Walmart has used copies that are on sale. So you can get them on sale, but even then, we just looked up the price. One of Walmart's used was $52, so it's still pretty pricey. I don't know what GameStop will be running. GameStop actually, I will give them I'll give them praise for like their used copy, because like we got the Far Cry franchise for like $20 a piece. Like not a piece, sorry, $20 total for all.
There's like 5 piece.
There's like 5 piece, but like so I bet you could probably get Animal Crossing for maybe like 35, 40 for GameStop, but still. With that still being said, if you don't think it's going to be a game for you, and you've seen the footage that you're watching right now, or you've seen other people play the game, and you still are like, I don't know, you're on the fence, I would personally probably say probably not for you, because this is one of those games that you're either gonna love it or you're gonna not like it. I don't really think there's anything, because if you're in the middle, then there's gonna be like time periods where you're just gonna not play the game, and forget about it, right? And then at that point your money's being wasted. So I would honestly say no in that case. But in the alternate version, I guess, of that is if you're watching the footage and you're like, man, you love sandbox games, you think you would enjoy it so much, you think that you've loved the previous iterations of Animal Crossing, then I would say, yeah, it's probably worth it at that point, because you've loved the previous iterations. This one builds on it and includes new features and stuff like that. Like I said, they had the home. If you love interior design, they have the home decoration storyline now. That didn't used to be when it first came out. So that's in there. Yeah, if you just like sandbox game, it is a sandbox game at the end of the day. You are confined to an island, I guess, in a sense, but it's still sandbox. But yeah, so that's the only way I would say that it is worth it in that sense. But that leaves us with the final rating. And this one's a tough one, because as much as I like the game, I don't think I can lump it with other 8s, honestly. I don't think I can lump it with that, especially with what I said about the improved section. Isabel reminded me of the fact that like the grindiness of the things has been ruined by those stupid, whatever they're called, the gyroid things.
The weird gyroid. They have like many different
I think it's a high 7 in my personal opinion. I don't think it's a low 7. I don't think it's a medium 7. Like, we don't do points here because they're kind of meaningless, but I would give it, I would be a 7.8, 7.9, somewhere around there. It's approaching an 8. I don't think I can lump it in with other 8s though, based on what I've said. Because 8s are like revolutionary games. It was definitely helpful at the time, like 2020 and stuff like that. Obviously, when people were locked in their houses and apartments, whatever, that was a really good game to just play with friends and stuff. But I don't think I can call it revolutionary because it's just another.
Fallen off a little.
It has fallen off a little bit, and it wasn't like it's just another Animal Crossing game. And there's gonna be more down the line.
Yeah, like back in 2020, this was more so on the revolutionary side. Now it's just another Animal Crossing.
Not even then, I would say, because it's still another iteration. But also, I would say the first Animal Crossing was because it was obviously started the whole thing.
Right.
But this, I'm gonna have to give it a high 7. I don't think I can lump it into an 8, especially with what I've given an 8 before. So that's my rating. But Zach.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah, because I'm one of those people. Like, Isabel's on like the high end of like enjoyment. I'm more so on the lower side. I haven't played it in a really long while. I've just kind of gotten a little bored of it, so it hasn't really stuck for me after a while. When I used to play it, I really liked it a lot though. But it's just kind of gotten boring for me with all the grindiness.
Well, yeah. Once you get to a certain point, it just becomes grindy. You feel like you need to. It becomes almost like a chore because once a game feels like a chore, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. So to me, it was a mix between a 7 or I'd even say a 6, but I'm gonna go with 7. I'll be nice. I'll say maybe like mid 7.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, you guys can disagree and stuff, but I don't think I'd feel comfortable rating it as a 6 just purely because of all the good music, the characters.
It is good with a lot of stuff. It's just the game.
I think New Leaf I would give a 6, but based on what I've seen of New Leaf, I don't think that
New Leaf was kind of
No, New Leaf was kind of but Isabel, what's your rating?
Yeah, I am gonna give like a pretty different rating, but that's because as expected, I do have a lot of hours playing in this game, so I did think about it. I am going to give it an 8, but like a very weak 8 is what I would say. Because if they got rid of the gyroids, if they made it like a little less grindy, then I would have definitely given like a higher rating.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's nowhere near a 10 because it's not perfect. Anytime the what can be improved section, if I talk for more than 10 seconds on that section, you know it's not gonna be a 10. Because we mentioned this before. I don't know how many times I'm gonna keep doing it, but just because like I don't know what reviews you're watching. You could be watching them on and off. You could be watching every single one. You could be watching like 1 or 2. So I don't know. But when I look at like IGN or like other people doing ratings and they give 10 out of 10s for like they're basically going on sale, it's like you're not rating the game at that point. You're just like, oh, that's a 10. You're a 10. Oh, it's like no, you're not perfect. Because a 10 out of 10 means there's nothing wrong with it, people. And
by definition, it means it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yes.
9 times out of 10.
And
it's not perfect.
99% of games are not. There's always going to be some type of problem. With Faz, for example, I don't recall giving that a 10. I gave that a 9. I'm pretty sure because it's not perfect by any means. Or maybe even give it an 8. I can't remember. But either way, I didn't give it a 10 because unless I did, in which case I'm sorry if I was wrong about that. But either way, I think the only 10 I've given is Undertale, and that to me speaks for itself.
That's the only 10.
But
and that may stand. That may stand as the only 10.
Yeah, I don't. Deltarune would need to change some things in personal opinion for it to be a 10 right now. I think it's hovering around a strong 8 or like weak 9. Chapter 2 really.
Chapter 2 was a 9.
Chapter 1 was an 8. Chapter 2 was a 9. And based on what I'm seeing from Chapter 3 and 4, it might become a 10 soon, but yeah, I don't know. But it's one of those things that Toby's just really well known for what he does, and his comedy is just like very similar to mine. So Undertale was a gem for me. But yeah, that's the only 10 I'm ever gonna probably give. Maybe there's something down the line. Like I said, Deltarune might if once it comes out fully and stuff like that.
Or maybe some new game.
There is a game that I'm thinking might be a 10, but I have to look more into it personally. But either way, there's stuff like that. So. Yeah, that's gonna be our final rating. So we do custom outros for these because we want to see these are more professional style videos because we're hopefully helping people decide if they should get a game or not, or just give you more info in case you didn't know certain stuff about games. So yeah, but that's gonna do it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.